exactly. Am I just a product or am I a human? First and foremost, I'm a human, and I woke up that way, and so did you. Like we were talking about the other day about advice. You know, people ask for advice, they generally don't take advice.
Yeah, that's fine. You've changed their appearance, but what's going on a deeper level for that person? And
Exactly.
Are you actually, again, the meaningful connection that you're talking about? Are you transferring positive energy into that experience?
There are just a few things that if we can just adjust or nudge in a slightly different way, this industry is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But right now,
It's beautiful because it connects everybody.
Everybody being a bit more positive. Let's look for the good things rather than the bad things. Let's not pick people apart. Let's show them their qualities and illuminate those qualities. I say, look, we got to realise is we have the most ridiculous job in the world. We actually do. And I just wanted to be my authentic self, and it just feels great. It feels great because now it leaves the platform wide open.
It's like that thing I say to you. It's like why are people out there planting seeds in my head that weren't there?
For me, I just needed to take my own advice. I say that to everybody all the time. I'm like, you're not just hair. There's more to you than this. You know, this is just a skill that you've learned, and you do it. It makes you money. It's brilliant. I absolutely believe we should be of service and add as much value as we can to everybody else. But it's still for you. It's still for you. Should I just dampen these parts of me? You know, just not show them up. And someone gave me some great advice and said, no, always be that beacon, because how do you expect to find your people if they can't see you?
Welcome back to the Network Podcast, guys. This is episode 4, here with your hosts, Lee and myself, Owen. So today we're going to skip past all the small talk and all the nonsense. We just spoke about
for that. We
went on our walk this morning, and we got through all that nonsense already. So
yeah.
We don't need to tell you about the weather or what's going on with that. But you know, it's interesting. The last couple of podcasts that we did, we kind of just spoke on our stories, like we said, get them bits out of the way. And now I think we should talk about where we're at now, I guess, in our mindset and in the direction that we're going in the current state of the world. I think right now we see a lot of, I don't want to highlight it too much, but there is a lot of negativity around the whole situation. And within that, it's very easy to get caught up in forgetting about the positive things.
It's easy to fall in the trap, I feel.
Yeah.
We all become victim of it at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like, I think if you see everybody doing it around you, you can fall into it as well, you know. I think we have had moments where we've realised that, and just had those moments of like, okay, is that what I want to do? Is that what I want to see? Is that what I want to hear? Is that what I want to put into the world? And then you can make the conscious choice to change it.
Yeah, it's interesting. We have these conversations on the phone all the time on a daily basis, whilst working through
We're meant to be working.
Yeah, I feel like they're very productive, you know. Again, part of the reason why we started the podcast is to have conversations like these. And I guess, you know, we feel like our industry, not only our industry, but the world needs to hear it, you know. Or people that we're around or can potentially influence.
I said it the other day, you know, on my Instagram story, like, I probably been thinking for a few years, it probably sounds big-headed, but like, I don't know if standing behind a hairdressing chair is where I am of most value anymore.
Yeah.
You know? Well, for me, I don't know, maybe not everybody sees that, but I feel like I can be of more value in other ways. You know? Yeah,
absolutely. Well, there's something that you always say to me, which is great, and you've been saying it for a while, and it's like, you know, what we really need to realize in whatever profession that we're in, it is not you and you are not it. So like, first and foremost, we are human beings, and we can very easily get caught up in our identity, right? Like the identity that we create for ourselves, we can very easily get caught up in that. And it's been something as of late that, you know, this current situation that we're in the world has kind of given me the opportunity to, I guess, assess and analyze myself at a deeper level on a daily basis and understand myself more and understand, okay, is this the direction that I want to be going in?
Yeah.
Do I want to do these things?
It's been really great to watch as well. Like, I've experienced a lot of those things myself over the years, and like, it's been amazing to watch you sort of go through it and maybe have a little sort of voice in guidance as well. But yeah, I think that's what I love to use these times for that. Really just sit back and assess everything.
Yeah.
See where it's all going, see how I'm thinking about certain things. But again, like, just like what you were saying, this is a perfect time to practice detachment. Perfect time, because you're almost forced to.
Yeah.
Practice detaching from what you think that identity is if you are too tied to what you do. It's really good time to do it.
The big issue for me in what's going on these days in the world, especially when you can kind of touch on like social media, for example, we're just continuing to consume. So we're just consuming and consuming and consuming, but we're not actually thinking for ourselves. So this is something that might strike a chord with a few people, but fuck it, I don't care. I've been muting like 90% of my feed on Instagram, and I'm sorry if you don't see my name pop up in your story. Yeah, you're muted. But first and foremost, fuck all that. Like, what are you even looking at that shit for? Like,
it's noise. It's just noise.
Why are you even watching? Like, why are you even looking at who's watching your story? Yeah, I stopped that shit a long time ago. There's a few things that has happened to me over the course of my life with stuff like that, where I've caught myself in moments. Yeah, and I've been like, I need to stop that. The first time it really happened badly for me was when I was cycling and I was using MyFitnessPal. You know, MyFitnessPal, to count your calories. Yeah. It's the same shit as looking at the people who watch your Instagram story. Yeah. What are you looking at that for? Yeah. And like, it's just, again, another trap. You're just falling into a trap, and I don't know, you're following societal norms and this and that. And I think disconnecting from that and really looking at personal development and trying to understand yourself on a deeper level and understand the environment around you and studying. Like I said to you on the phone last week, I've been studying people. Instead of looking at people and being like, oh, fuck that guy and this and that, I'm like studying and analysing their behaviours more. Yeah. It's like, I feel like I've gone through an awakening. It's really weird. Like, I started this program with Charlie Gray, the mentorship program. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm on Charlie's mentorship program. And the most valuable piece of information that I've taken away from that so far was sitting down, writing out my goals and writing out my action plan for those goals. And the reason why is because it's made me really reflect on a deep level about the direction in which I'm going. Yeah. And why. Yeah. And why am I doing all these things? That's the most important question.
I feel like I've touched on it a few times, and like, I feel like this is a little bit of advice that I keep trying to give you is it's okay to be the observer. Sometimes you just have to be the observer. You can't let it come into your life too much, and sometimes I see that's what some people are in your life for. You're really just there to observe, analyze the behavior, just see what you make of it. See if that's what you want. Do you want to be like them? Or it might just be a realization moment. You're like, thank God I'm not like that, or thank God I've grown from that. And sometimes it's a dangerous game when you give that energy too much value. That I don't know, that person or whatever. If you're giving it too much value, it can become dangerous, because you think then it has to be there and it's part of you and it's part of your life. Whereas if you become the observer, you just look at it for what it is, and then you can see it from the other side and decide if you want it.
Yeah.
And to do that in lots of things in life is hard. It's very hard.
Especially in today's world.
You have to let your ego go. You have to let it go.
Especially in today's world. I think the way that life is positioned for us on platforms such as social media, it's very easy to want to fall into a tribe and feel part of something bigger, but realizing, like, it's like that thing I say to you. It's like, why are people out there planting seeds in my head that weren't there? Yeah.
Huge. I love it when you say that.
It's just ridiculous.
We've got something that we talk about in the academy, don't we, about mental health, and it's about just being careful about really trying to probe things out of people. Like, if you're not armed with the answers, you can open up Pandora's box. If you're not ready, you can make things worse. And Owen always said a great thing. He was like, the thing I worry about is, like, don't put ideas in my head that aren't there or might not or don't need to come out. you know, and that's really powerful.
Yeah,
And I think that's where we need to monitor and be careful about what we say.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And look, that's not to discredit any of the work that certain people are trying to do.
No,
because
no, no,
there
no.
is issues. There's fundamental issues in the world.
Yeah.
With people, and there always has been. But it's just never been spoken about as much because right now everybody has a platform.
Yeah.
And this is an interesting thing. Like, and in the last couple of weeks, we've been sharing a little bit more on our stories. I guess just putting across a little bit of optimism in a world that to us right now seems like there is some negativity there due to the situation.
Yeah.
But you need to change that lens. You need to flip it on its head. You need to look at this as an opportunity. This is an opportunity for you to change the path and the direction in which your life is going. That's the way I look at it.
Couldn't agree more. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Just see it as an opportunity to grow, to learn, to change, to observe. It's great. But I always wonder, is that just me? Is that just us? Or can it be learned? Or is it something that needs to be instilled in you as a child? Is it a gift? Or can you learn it?
You can learn it just like you can learn the junk behaviours. And when I say junk behaviours and junk values, I mean like this is something that we listen to on other podcasts and Stephen talks about it all the time. Junk values. So these are the things, the valueless things in our lives that bring no meaning whatsoever. But again, having the Louis bag, having the Lambo, having the Rolex, having all these different things, what does it actually achieve?
You know, the status signal. That's really all it is. Just a status signal. You know, that's really all it is.
And it's like for anyone that does listen to this, it's like, have you ever stopped yourself in all of this? Have you ever stopped yourself and looked at yourself in the mirror and asked, "Are you happy?" Right? It's like, "Are you happy?"
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? I think in our Western world, I don't even know if that's encouraged. You know, for me, I can't remember the conversation when I was a kid. It's like, Lee, what do you want to do when you're older? It was more about how much money you're going to make or the prestige of the job or, you know, how successful you're going to be. It wasn't like, make sure you stop every couple of months and keep asking yourself if you're happy. That was never a thing. Yeah. I was always told, work comes before everything. Toughen up. You're going to do it. Like, crack on, you know? Yeah. And we talk about these issues, but you know, ultimately it's nobody's fault, is it? It's none of our fault. It's just the way we've sort of been guided, I feel.
Well, this is the thing, the influence.
There you go. It keeps coming back.
Like we spoke about this off camera earlier on, and it's about the word influencer. And it's like, when you really think about it on a deep level, the people who are influencers, in brackets, it's like, they don't even know what's going on themselves. Nobody knows what's going on. That's the funny thing about the world. Nobody has a fucking clue what's going on. Yeah. We're all just still in that self-discovery stage. And not even self-discovery, but discovering other people. And I think that's where the observing thing comes in and the studying thing. And it's changing the lens, looking at things from a different angle, looking at things from a standpoint of empathy. Yep. As well as, like, you know, logic. I think logic that does come into it too. You can't just be empathetic with everyone. No. Because some people are getting in their own way. Yeah. Hands down. Like, that's just the way it is.
Have you ever been called too logical?
Yeah. Yeah, but it comes from my parents.
You're too logical.
It comes from my parents. You know, my mom's very, like, devil's advocate about everything, you know. But it's generational. All this stuff is very generational. And it's like, these days, no offense to anyone, but everyone's too fucking soft. Yep. We live such privileged lives, and there's so many different levels to privilege. This is something that I've learned recently as well. Like, you know, privilege to the general day-to-day person who thinks about the word privilege, thinks of somebody living in a great house, eating from a golden spoon. Yeah. Kind of like what I touched on in my story. Yeah. People would look at me and think, privilege. Yeah. Yes, I did live a privileged life, but not in that regard. I lived a privileged life because my parents loved me unconditionally, and they still love me unconditionally, and that's a different form of privilege, right? Yeah. Like, yeah. But these days, it's just too easy for people to just, I don't know, they don't have to go through as much hardships. There's just privilege, especially here in Australia. It's such an easy country to get by in. Like,
yeah, and that's the blessing and the curse of that stuff, isn't it? You know, the
double-edged.
The bigger and bigger and the better things get, sometimes it starts to become your detriment.
Yeah.
You know, like I just still can't believe it, how easy it is to make money in this country, or the amount of money you can make, or how much spare money people have.
We're getting paid $750 right now to do nothing.
To be at home, to
Obviously
stay at home.
Obviously, we have a full-time job, but that's why we do.
Yeah.
But still, like, come on.
But like, look at the houses people. Look at the houses people have. Look at the cars people have. Look at the clothes people wear over here. It's no issue. You know, it's like, really, if you look deep down, you know, we are privileged beyond our means.
Yeah.
You know, in that sense, and I think that's our downfall. We've become too complacent because of our privilege. You know, we're almost a victim of our privilege.
And our job is a privilege.
Oh,
think about,
like, you've heard me say it that many times.
Our job is such a privilege.
I say to people
not
all
for
the
us,
time,
not necessarily just for us, for our clients.
Everybody,
such a privilege.
Everybody. Obviously, I say it all the time.
It's the most ridiculous job in the world.
Yeah, I say all the time. People say, when they're getting tied up about, oh, should I do this? I say, look, what you got to realise is we have the most ridiculous job in the world. We actually do. Yeah. I'm cutting your hair, shaping it like this, styling it like this. I can turn it pink or green if I want to. You know, when you think about it, it's actually ridiculous. Does it have any relevance to the survival of human beings? Absolutely not one bit.
No.
But,
no. And that's what
we still do it, you know.
That's what cracks me up, man. Like, when, at the moment, when people are talking about, like, we should be essential, you know? We should be essential. It's like, why should we be essential?
Yeah.
Like, it is not essential for for us to live.
No.
For us to breathe.
Yeah, and I think
to have a fresh skin fade is not essential.
Define the word define what the meaning of essential.
But you know what? That teaches me more about the person who says that is that they don't like being still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we should be essential is their ego coming out and saying, get me back to work so I don't have to think about what's going on. And
get me back to work, I'm essential because I'm not making money in the only way that I know how to.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, and that comes from fear. That's a bit of fear. But at the same time, look, we can't paint everybody with the same brush.
No, absolutely not.
This is the whole observant thing and looking around us and seeing what messages are being shared right now, because not to name any names, but there is people with platforms that are using them in the wrong way, in my opinion. Not necessarily the wrong way, because there is no wrong and right.
No.
You're absolutely entitled to share whatever you want. We can't argue that. But there's a way that it can be used for better. Yeah. Not necessarily used in the wrong way, but it's not necessarily been used in the most positive way.
Yeah, I really try, and it took me a long time to work out how to make those decisions. You know, and someone I follow online called Paul Chek, he's a fantastic holistic teacher, and he says, how do you define your moral compass? How do you find what's morally right or wrong? He's like, I've got a simple answer. Is it life affirming? And life affirming to you can mean it's going to keep you alive, it's going to better your mental health, basically things that aren't going to be a detriment. You know, those are the things that I think should guide you in your moral compass.
Yeah.
So again, you're right, like, say what you want, do what you want, post what you want, but you can't be that blasé and then complain then when there's a kickback, or complain then that the world is, everybody's mental health's getting worse and all this stuff. It's like, well, did you think about what you were putting out to the world? And did you think about if its moral compass was going in a good direction? Was it life affirming in the sense of, was it beneficial for the world to get better from where we are at right now? Mm-hmm. And that's like the, first principles thinking, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Stephen talks about this all the time. Is like, are the answers that we have for the problems now what we're going to need moving forward? Are they still the answer to the problem? And that's just what I see. I think when we talk about like seeing people using their platform in the wrong way, again, it's not right or wrong. Is it being used in a way that's going to keep being the right answer to the problems that we have? And I more often than not, I have to answer that with a no. I don't know if you agree, but
I agree. I think a lot of it's virtue signaling, to be honest.
Yeah, there's massive amount of virtue signaling, and I think the first way to get around that is to just try and step your ego aside. You really do. Or get clear and honest with yourself exactly why you do it. Yeah. You know, it's okay if all you want to do is just prop up your ego and just get as much value for yourself as possible. Own it. Be absolutely openly honest and be like, I just want to do this because it just fills my cup and that's it. Yeah. That's fine too. You'll find your tribe and you'll find your crowd, and it's like
it's the contradiction that happens.
Yeah.
And I think like there's a lot of things in our industry that are contradictory. Like,
very contradictory.
I think like for me in particular, going through this transition that I'm kind of going through in my life, like that transformation, I'm finding a lot of contradictions popping up, and you know, I just kind of want to get back to basics a little bit. Yeah. I just want to bring things back to basics. Yeah. I've cleared out my wardrobe. Yep. Got rid of all the designer bullshit. Because what does that really bring to me? Apart from, you know, at one stage a feeling of being maybe in an elite group or something. Yeah. Which is only a perception. Yeah. What I've realised is whether I wear a fucking plain black t-shirt or I wear something that's $1,000, people don't care. They still treat you the same way. You know. So like just getting rid of them clothes and like starting fresh is just one part of it. And you know, even the other day I was driving to where I do my work for the academy, and I just had this realization. I was like, you know what, like there's a lot more to me, especially now being away from the barbershop and away from the salon. Like there's a lot more to me than just hair. So I went on my Instagram profile, which, you know, again is another ridiculous concept for me to think that that's what I have to do in order for the world to know who I am. I went on there and I took the labels off my Instagram. So I took barber off it, I took stylist off it, I took educator off it. Yeah. I am Owen McCarthy. That's who I am. I have a person with a set of skills that can be applied to anything. Haircutting is only one facet of them things, right?
Yeah. Well, I've done the same. You've seen me do the same recently. I've rebranded my social media. Not because I was like, oh, this is the new me. No, this is the original me. This is me underneath all the old names and whatever I was trying to put out there. And I just wanted to be my authentic self. And it just feels great. It feels great because now it leaves the platform wide open. Mm-hmm. I feel like now I can talk about whatever I want to. Yeah. And like
you're
before,
not just restricted into that.
No.
I can only talk about hair, or I can only talk about this.
And I think it was a realization for me. I just needed to take my own advice. I say that to everybody all the time. I'm like, you're not just hair. There's more to you than this. You know, this is just a skill that you've learned, and you do it. It makes you money, and yes, it might bring you some intrinsic value and some extrinsic value, and yes, you can bring value to other people and have an effect and make connections. But you know, that's not all there is to you. And I don't think that should be all there is to you. I think that's one of the beauties of living in this modern day is like we are encouraged more now to have more to us than just that one thing, which never always was the case. And we've seen it popping up on social media a lot, haven't we? You know, people having this realization, almost this awakening moment of like, oh, wow, I've actually been forced to like bring out that inner child again. Realize, oh, I was suppressing that. Like,
But it's just like you got to think about where people's attention spans are right now.
Yeah.
And people's attention is on social media. Whether we like it or not, it is. So the message that you share is very important. And I think this is kind of the main topic of almost today's conversation.
Yeah.
That we kind of wanted to touch on. And that was, be careful how you use your platform. And you need to be clear on why you use it, for what reasons you're using it. Because, like you said, you can have a positive effect on people, you know. And you've seen that with your stories, sharing your stories in the morning, putting out positive messages.
Unbelievable.
There's some deep stuff comes back, you know, from people. And that's the thing, whether it's for one person or if it's for however many people. Somebody might look at it and think, Lee, geez, he's lost his mind, you know?
Yeah. Who's this hippie?
Who's this? Yeah, like, but they might look at me and like, fuck him, I'm going to unfollow him because he's just annoying me. But that's absolutely fine. Do that. Don't take it personally. No. People don't want to share. If people don't want to hear that or they don't want to be part of that journey, that's absolutely fine. There's no problem with it.
Just practice what we talk about. Just mute it.
Yeah.
You know, it's that's fine. But again, I was given some great advice many years ago when I was almost going through what you were going, you know, a bit of a transformation, trying to work out, you know, who I really am, why my personality is the way it is. And, you know, I said, should I just dampen these parts of me, you know, just not show them up? And someone gave me some great advice and said, no, always be that beacon, because how do you expect to find your people if they can't see you? I thought that was just brilliant. I needed to hear that, you know, and it's been a slow process, but it's coming out more and more now, and I'm becoming more and more confident with just showing it freely.
Yeah, I think this helps a lot.
Yeah,
doing this type of stuff.
Oh, amazing.
And that's one thing I say to Hannah all the time. You know, I've got a few other people in my life that ask me different questions about, like, how can they reach a certain audience or a market, or, you know, how can they find their tribe, essentially.
Yep.
And the only thing that you can do authentically in this world is be yourself.
Yep.
And, you know, Stephen says it great. Like, all these topics that people touch on in their social media, this and that, right? They are all relevant topics, don't get me wrong. But when you're alone in your room by yourself, nobody's around, no consuming, no digital media, no nothing, right? Give yourself a few days by yourself. I'm not recommending you to do this, by the way, but are you sad about it then? And does it really mean that much to you then, you know?
Yep.
And there's something that you always say, like, about, are we really charitable?
Yeah.
Are we really charitable humans?
You know, deep down, you gotta go deep. Like, this is hard for a lot of people to fathom, but, you know, it seems strange. You know, we're all about being of service. Yeah, it's brilliant. I absolutely believe we should be of service and add as much value as we can to everybody else. But it's still for you. It's still for you. How can it not be? You know? There's always, no matter what you want to think, there's always some sort of chemical trigger going off in your brain, underlying every decision that you make, that makes you do it. Mm-hmm. You know, and no matter how, like, I've said it to you, no matter how charitable we think we are, we're not as much as we think we are. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's for us. But I was trying to explain it to you the other night when we were having a chat, wasn't it? It was like, I think it's when, you know, there's a bit for you and a bit for the other person. It's a win-win on both sides. That's the most powerful stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and this is where
it's like
sometimes
a collaboration. It's a collaboration.
Exactly. This is where sometimes our industry is contradictory for me. It's like, is the win for me or the win for them a little bigger, or is it a detriment to them or a detriment to me? You know, I feel like the scales are a little bit off sometimes, or a lot of the time.
And what's the goal with that when it is off?
Exactly, and that's why I just don't think
what's the why? Like,
I'm as much value as I can be in those situations anymore. It's a tough one to think about. It's one of them honest truths, you know, that you had. It's almost like a smack in the face. you gotta just go, okay, yeah. And that's about just being honest with yourself, I think.
And being clear with
really
your why.
Pays.
Being clear with the why, and why you do what you do, and for what reasons. Yeah. Like, for us, from openly and honestly from day one, you know, you might look at us and think, these guys are doing that for the Jack Reed Foundation and this and that. Yeah, we are. Because we got a good relationship with the guys. We love what they're doing, but we also love what we're doing. And we see it as a mutually beneficial relationship.
100%.
That's exactly what it is. It's
you just explained it perfectly. All right, it's a win for us. It's a win for them. We all help each other grow. Yeah. It's so powerful.
And it brings, do you know what it is with the charity, like, type of thing? Like, for me, it's like, it brings people together. Because when we did our Reconnect shows, we did the one in Melbourne with our launch party. We did the one in Brisbane, and we did the one in Sydney. Now, 50% of the people that turned up to all of them things probably only showed up because there was some sort of charity involved. So if that's a means of bringing people together and really enabling them to understand that we're not just focused on the commercial or the superficial shit,
or just the numbers.
No, because, like, we could easily have done that and taken some numbers, but we don't care about that. That's not what it's about. It's about, we understand that will come. It's not like, I'm not sitting here and saying, I'll just do everything for free and not get any money for it. Nobody does that. Even the people who run charities don't do that. Nobody in the world does that. We all have bills to pay. We all have rent to pay. You know? But at the same time, when you can do good, you should definitely do good. there's no better feeling. I don't know what it's like for you, but when you receive a gift, it doesn't feel the same as giving one. I think when you give somebody a gift, it's a better feeling for you.
That high is
than
unbelievable.
receiving.
Yeah. Well, I'm very acts of service orientated. So if you ever looked into the love languages, mine's acts of service, receiving and giving. So it's very powerful. I would rather do lots of things for you and just see you light up.
Yeah.
Rather than tell you a bunch of things and see you light up.
How do you feel about that on a hair standpoint, though? Giving somebody a haircut.
I know, this is where
this is the thing, right? Like, because what's more important in that service? Because look, it's a service, right?
Yeah.
But beyond the service, it's an interaction between two humans.
Yeah.
So what's more important there, the actual result of the haircut?
Yeah.
Or the impact that you leave on? I know that you're going to have something good to say about it.
Yeah, you're asking the right person, because I almost talk to myself about that every single haircut. I'm like, what is this for me? What is this for them? Is there anything deeper here? Because it's very, very easy. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just biased. Maybe I've got a distorted view of the world, but I just see a lot of haircuts. It can be all one way or just not very beneficial. That's how I'm feeling these days anyway. But look, okay.
Elaborate on that a little bit.
Let's break it up.
Because a lot of people won't understand.
They wouldn't understand, yeah.
Because I've been around you for so long now that I've got to understand what you mean when you say that.
Yeah. And it's hard to understand it if you've never thought that way. Someone to see me, I mean, I've been like this for quite a long time, and it's just taken me a long time to find someone to understand. Because again, it's hard to stand in an industry that you have been in for so long and you're so well known for and go, you know what, I have a bit of a problem with this. Because everybody's reaction is like, well, why do you do it then? It's like, I could think like that and I could just quit, or I can try and help people think in a different way.
Yeah, weave it
and see. So let's break it up. All right, let's talk about the client first. So I often think about, why is the client here to see me? Ultimately, I think there's a lot of ego involved. Who goes to get a haircut? How often does someone go in and just go, Owen, do what you want? Like, truly.
But that's not
truly.
When that does happen, they don't really mean what they say.
No, and that's why I mean truly.
No, it never happens.
No.
It actually doesn't happen ever.
So the reason I say that is because it would be great if, what we do have is a skill set and an art form and a craft. And to see that respected in that way would be so different, such a different experience. You'd feel like an artist. They're coming to me for my skill set and my craft. So I look at that and then I think, okay, that's that. Then I look at what it is for me. I always want to do the best job I can possibly do. Now, most people would go, oh, that's to make that person happy. Nope, I'm going to be totally honest. I rarely do it to make the person happy anymore. I'm sorry, but I'm past that point. When I was a kid, when I was younger, in my early days of my career, that's all I cared about.
But that's because that's what you're taught.
That was what I was taught. I was so tied up in, it's so important that you make this person happy. And this is why I have a problem with the client's always right. I have a real problem with that. Are they? Are they actually? Because, again, it depends on their compass. Depends what they think they are right about, And if that's what you go by and you're just trying to please the person, it's a trap. I think it's a trap because you're almost affirming behaviors as well. You're affirming behaviors. So look, I'm not trying to say I know it all or I'm like some sort of Samaritan or, but again, I think we really need to analyze our compass and what we're putting out into the world and why we're doing it. And so for me now, haircuts for me are quite selfish because I'm just trying to do, I've brought it back to a craft and an art form and I'm like, right, I just want to make this as good as I possibly think it can look on this person. So, okay, then you see that. And then I go back to the client again and I go, okay, why? So this client is coming to me to get my work. Is it because they know that I just want to do it the best I possibly can for me, or is it to perk up their ego? Ultimately, I think it's to perk up their ego. And then particularly in our shop, I think. In our shop, we attract that a lot because we are we cut to a very high standard, and we charge a certain price point, which gives us
puts a perception on it.
Which gives a perception of what people come in with, an assumption of what we do and what we deliver. And that's where I butt heads with a lot of people, because it's like, okay, I see the value of my service, of the interaction, the meaningful connection, and I feel like I can give you a bit of a perspective shift. But not a lot of people are expecting that nor wanting that. Why? Because the industry and the market has told you that's not what you go to a stylist for. But why I think that way is because what we said before, let's get back to basics. We are humans.
Yeah. And are we humans, or are we service providers?
Exactly. Am I just a product, or am I a human? First and foremost, I'm a human, and I woke up that way, and so did you. Yeah. And I think that's where we need to get back to look at this from that lens, is we're both humans. So I have full right to challenge your perspective, and you have full right to challenge mine. Yeah. But we may not agree on everything. Yeah. And we don't have to agree on everything, and that's fine. And I want to see more of that in our industry. I really, really do. I've been trying to explain it to people. I want to pull us back to a middle ground more, because for me, I see a lot of clients are over this way and I'm going that way. It's like the degree of separation is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger all the time. Yeah. And I find it harder and harder and harder to connect with those people who are only doing it for ego values. And my struggle and my pain here, my empathy comes in when I'm like, oh, guys, it just doesn't need to be that way for you. It just doesn't need to be that way. Like, I can help you see this in a different light. But again, it's like we were talking about the other day about advice. You know, people ask for advice. They generally don't take advice. And this is my struggle. I'm in the shop daily and I'm so polarized by what I think, what they think, what's going on here. Rarely do we get enough time in that 45-minute space to get to those levels.
But you can't anyway, because the thing is, you're trying to protect your energy as well. There's also a part of that with me. Yeah. Like, where it's like I look at my energy on a day-to-day basis when I'm working a 12-hour shift like an iPhone battery. Yeah. And I don't want to wake up first thing and start watching a fucking video and downloading something. You know, like, that's what it's like, because it's going to drain that battery.
And then, you know, you've got to understand as well that this is something I need to understand always, and I'm conscious of it, is the person has a protection, a barrier around them too. Their ego is there. You know, I don't care what anybody says. It's rare that person is there with a dissipated ego. It's just not. But the common theme that I see a lot, and this is what worries me and pains me as I'm getting older, is why it's so important to feed it in that way. Why does it matter so much that we look a certain way? Why is it so important? Well, all of these things that we've just been talking about. The market, social cues, status signals, social media, you know. It's been normalized that we have to look a certain way. It's been normalized. Okay, strip it back to basics. If you're a hunter-gatherer, does it matter what you look like? Absolutely not. You probably have all the features you have, the color hair, the length of hair, the type of hair, the features you have, the beard that you have, the color skin that you have, for survival purposes.
Yeah, and if you do happen to look attractive, you might attract more sexual partners.
There you go.
As a hunter-gatherer. And that's probably what it is, right?
There you go. All right. But that's natural attraction, natural beauty, okay? We are going to absolute lengths. And that's why I say we have the most ridiculous job in the world. Look what we're doing. We're taking all the means and textiles and materials that we have in our body, and we're just trying to change them all. And the thing that worries me is we've normalized it too much, to a point where it's too much now. And I feel, to me, this is going to sound terrible. It's not a dig on the industry, but it's becoming toxic. Yeah. For me, on a personal level.
Yeah. Do you think it's becoming toxic for you, or do you think that you are now coming to this realization? Has it always been this way?
Yeah, I think I am.
That's and thing, that's... Like, it's not that it's becoming toxic in general,
no,
just today.
Maybe it has been.
But it always has been. It's like something that's rotten at the core.
Yep.
Not to fucking say that I know that much about it. I don't. But that's what it seems like, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe like...
And so I think that what's the message in all of this? I think we need to get back to developing our meaningful connections as humans. And going in with things with a little bit more awareness and a bit more openness.
Yeah.
to go into a
But this is double-sided, right? Like a lot of the people listening to this are going to be stylists or barbers or hairdressers.
Yeah.
But it's double-sided.
Yeah.
It's not just down to us, it's down to the clients too, and
Yeah.
how they perceive us.
Yeah.
So us having some more self-respect is needed.
And you know what? And this is another painful truth. I'm sorry we're bringing up. We wanted this to be positive, but there's a few negatives. But I think in the end, it makes everything more positive.
Yeah, no, it's a perspective shift.
Something that I say to people, and I've had to tell myself this, the reason it is this way is because us as stylists, we've let it become this way. People don't do their own hair a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Why is there so many hairdressers? Because people go for the service. So why aren't we guiding the service? Is it because we're jaded and misguided too? Like, what is it? Or are we worried about not making the money because we know that insecurity sells? We know that. You can tell someone you don't look good, or you're not going to be on a pedestal, or your social status is going to be less, or your status signal is going to be less because you don't look a certain way, or you don't have this haircut, or you don't have this, color that frames your face beautifully. Like, that sells. Why? Because you're tapping into people's weaknesses. I just don't know if I resonate with it anymore. And people, I get it all the time. And again, getting back to like what we attract to the shop, people expect it from me, and I see it all the time. And I have to stop people when they start doing it. I'll go, I'll start digging into the conversation. How you feeling about your hair? Tell me a little bit about yourself. They'll almost stop me in my tracks and go, well, what do you think? You're the professional. And I've got to say, I flip it back. I say, I've got to be brutally honest, mate. I'm not here to pick you to pieces. I'm not going to be that guy. I said, the moment you walk in this door, I'm trying to look at all the good things about you. That's honestly what I'm doing. And I'm trying to, let's enhance all the good things about you. I'm not here to pull you to pieces and go,
that's where the
you don't look right
it.
because you need this and you need that and you need that. Why isn't that the angle? But rarely do I see that in this industry. People say it, but I think it's a virtue signal. They go, oh yeah, I do, lived in colors, or I do lived in haircuts, or this. But why? None of that's, it's still not natural. It's still an artificial look for most of those people. All right, it might suit them, and you followed all the, all the aesthetic norms and the aesthetic ideals, and you've worked to the face shape and the hair texture and type. That's okay, but it's still an art form and a craft, and it's still artificial to how that person's hair naturally is. And there's still going to be a reason why you give it to them. And to tell them that, it's going to make you better, or you're going to feel better, or this. It's like, but why? Why do you feel better? To me, I would love it for meaningful human connection, the appreciation of art and craft, and just seeing it for what it is and realizing, let's go full circle, realizing the privilege that it is to get this done.
And I think that's where it brings
Such
it back.
a privilege.
It brings it back around to positivity, because a lot of the time in our industry we do hear, other stylists and hairdressers and people around us, our peers, refer to all of this as, but I just love making the person feel good, and I love how they leave the shop feeling good and they get home and they feel great about themselves. And that is all great, and so do we. We love that too. It's nice to see somebody happy with the job that you've done. As long as they respect you in the process. As well as, and to get deeper on that, it's like, though, that's fine. You've changed their appearance, but what's going on a deeper level for that person? And are you actually, again, the meaningful connection that you're talking about? Are you transferring positive energy into that experience? And I see it all the time, people highlighting the fact that somebody's got a receding hairline or this and that, and talking to them about it, and it's like, that's not the angle.
Why does that matter?
That's not the angle. Like, that is not the angle. That is like, it's actually, again, insecurity sells. You're pointing at the guy and you're telling him, you need this.
That would be like me telling you everything that's wrong with you. I don't do that. If someone comes to me and says, oh, this is my issue.
It's toxic in relationships, so why is it any different with our clients?
Because they are relationships at the end of the day. But the way I like to look at hair is like, or there's an approach that I use. I can just treat it as a remedial thing. Okay, if you come to me with some issues, I'll give you the solutions to remedy your issues. But I'm not going to stand there, and the audacity for me to pick you to pieces when we're all imperfect is something that I just can't. I can't get around that. I'm sorry, I can't do it. You know,
regardless of being a hair professional or knowing what you know, it's not about that. It's about the human being that's in your chair.
Yeah. And like, you know, touching on the person saying, oh, you know, I love it. I love to see the person happy. Why do you like that? Why do you like it? Because it makes you happy. You feel like you've done something good for somebody else. But then it goes deeper down the track. And this is not having a dig. It's just questioning all the steps. Why does what you give that person make them feel good? You know, because there is this thing in society, if you look better, it taps into your ego, and all of a sudden, you feel like you're on a pedestal. But I can see straight through that, and I don't resonate with it. I'm sorry, like I've gotten to a point in my life where I don't resonate with it, and you've probably seen me do it in the shop. Like, people jump out of the chair, they're like, wow, no one's ever cut my hair like that. It's the best. You made me feel so good. And I don't have a reaction for it, because it doesn't do anything intrinsically for me anymore. Because I see that person's happiness, and I just think it's tied up in their look.
Yeah.
And that left undone it
can
be detrimental.
And that's the identity thing. And it's like, you know, this might be hard for a lot of people to hear. It might be hard for a lot of people to fathom, like you said. But really just take everything that we're saying and look at it from all angles. You know, some people might have turned the podcast off by now and saying, oh no, I can't listen to this.
These guys are idiots.
But that's, again, another ego thing, protecting your identity.
Yeah.
Now, the ego is something that is very mistaken. I think you know, you almost, again, need to give the ego another name, you know, like we spoke about earlier. Your ego is a different side of your personality that protects you. It's nothing to do with you thinking you're great, the way that has been perceived. It's not about that. It's something that's protecting you. So if this triggers you, that's your ego. Yeah. Because
if it triggers you,
you're protecting your identity.
There's work to do.
You're protecting your identity. And what the most important thing is to remember about all of this, hair is not us and we are not hair.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, that's what you need to remember to take away from this podcast. Because look, we want to bring it back around to a positive subject. And the thing, I think all of this is really positive because it's a new perspective, it's a broader lens, it's a bigger way of looking at things, bigger picture thinking. And the thing is with that, like, it comes back to the platform thing.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've
spoken about what are you sharing?
Exactly.
Like, what message are you putting out?
And let's be honest, okay? People can say whatever they want. We've realised that we have a platform. Okay, and people take notice of it. What do we do with it? We have these honest conversations with each other. This is not just a virtue signal. This is real.
Yeah, we have
and
these
it's consistent, and the information that you hear will be the same a lot of the time. Why? Because it's what we believe in, and we've had a lot of those honest conversations with ourselves. We've realized
with people in the academy.
And with people in the
academy.
academy.
So, like, if you haven't been to Area Academy,
yeah,
we have had these conversations at the academy, and it's tough because at a certain point you need to stop because you could go all day.
I recommend you just come to the academy for that sometimes.
Well, maybe we'll run different types of, I think though this is the direction that I see the academy going, and it's not all going to be about hair.
No.
It's going to be, yes, our medium is hair, and that's what I love about creating the content for the network, because it's deeper than that.
Yeah.
It's not just take your comb, take your scissors, take this section and take this and this and this. In a way, getting consumed in that is great. Like you said, if you look at it like an art form and you look at it like that, it's like a hobby. The way I see my career going with hair is I want to see hair as a hobby.
Yep.
And I want to have some creative freedom in expressing that hobby.
Because it is. Get back to it. It's a ridiculous trade. It's an art form.
Yeah.
This sounds funny. It's hard to understand, but like, art is ridiculous, isn't it? Most of it. What are you doing? You're creating something out of nothing most of the time. Say a painter. It's ridiculous. But that doesn't mean it's wrong. It just needs a certain perspective to look at it, and what's the value in it, and why is it valuable? And I just don't think we do that with hair.
Nah. But this is the thing, right? There's a difference between a haircut and a hairstyle. Crafting a style into somebody's hair is different to cutting somebody's hair. For our survival, we could all just shave our own heads.
Yep.
If we needed to.
Yep.
And at what stage does it have to get to before you have to actually do that?
Yep.
You know, that's what you got to think.
Yep.
are we really necessary?
Yeah.
And I think once you have that broader perspective, that bigger lens, your message to the world can be a lot more powerful and impactful, because at the end of the day, you don't want to just resonate with a certain group of people.
No.
As hairdressers and as barbers, for our craft and our skill that makes us money and puts food on the table, I think that's one of the most important things for us to remember. It's not our identity. You know, just because we're not at work now, there's a lot more to us as humans than just our work and what we present.
Come and spend a day with us.
What's very interesting is, look, we very rarely even share haircuts on our Instagrams anymore.
No.
Because once you've seen one, you've seen them all.
Yeah.
Like, where's the deeper message? And
Exactly.
That's the thing with the platform, and that's where I've been looking at it recently, and that's why I've had to start muting things and muting Instagram pages and stuff like that, because it's like that's what's been shoved in my face, and it's been I voluntarily did it, like, because I followed them pages myself.
Yeah.
I clicked the button. I wanted to see it.
That's part of the growth, though, isn't it? You know, it's part of your journey.
It's part of the journey. And look, there's probably different versions of myself that have evolved over time, and now I'm moving into that next step and that next version.
Yeah.
And I think within that, it's nice to share the story. It's nice to share the message, and it's also nice, like, to try to encourage people to share more of a positive message. You know, I think us setting really high standards within the hair industry, or trying to, is that really helping anything though? That's where I'm struggling with at the moment. Like, I'm really struggling at the moment, even with all the competition stuff.
Well, I've been there for years, mate, and it's like it's hard. It's a hard place to be, because there aren't many people that think like that. And if you do, please make yourself known, because we could have some great chats. But it's not apparent to me, and I think it's out of fear. I think it's out of fear to be different, to challenge the status quo, the fear of losing money, the fear of not being relevant. But how long do you want to live an artificial sort of being? You know, how long do you want to do that for? How long do you want to not be your authentic self? You know, because look, at the end of the day, I say the things that I say because I know and realize through proven research, is the world in terms of mental health and our well-being getting better? Clearly not. You can look at all the stats you want. Most papers read the same. Mental health cases are negatively impacted more and more and more every year. Suicides go up, people's worries and fears go up, childhood anxiety is getting younger and younger and younger, more people are on medications every day. Look, there are many factors, but this is where this all comes from. I need to take that on a personal level. What is my gift to the world, and am I helping that? And in the way that we do it, I just don't think we do. And that's just my honest opinion. It doesn't mean I think hair is bad or it's wrong or we shouldn't do it. I just think we need to flip the perspective and move away from putting so much value on how we look actually matters in this world. Like, I'm not saying don't look after yourself and groom yourself, but yeah, you know, if we get the insides right, I think everything else on the outside just becomes so much more beautiful. And I that's how I see our industry too. I feel like, and I've said it to you a few times, I feel like there are just a few things that if we can just adjust or nudge in a slightly different way, this industry is unbelievable. Yeah. But right now,
it's beautiful because it connects everybody.
It's, you know? And we need to. I just really wish we could see it that way and move it away from this lens of like it matters so much on how you feel about yourself. And why? It's such a horrible place to be, to wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and go, oh, look at my hair. I haven't had a haircut in 2 weeks. Oh, I don't like myself. Oh, I'm dirty. Oh, I'm this. What? Nature didn't intend it that way. You are how you are. You're perfect the way you are. You're fine just the way you are. Yeah. And that's why I want to flip the lens and the respect and the realization what a privilege this is to do. It elevates it beyond measure. Like the appreciating our craft and levels that we go to do this, you know. And I think it will just change everything. And I feel like that's our gift to the world and our value to the world in helping the mental health pandemic and everybody just feeling a bit better about themselves, everybody being a bit more positive. Let's look for the good things rather than the bad things. Let's not pick people apart. Let's show them their qualities and illuminate those qualities.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that's where
being the beacon.
Be the beacon. Be the guide for people in the dark. And because I just don't think our industry is based on that. Okay, we've got big industry and big corporation behind it driving that, but it's us that lets it happen. We let it happen because there's more of us than there is of them. They're just the ones that hold the money and the power. We're the ones that have the guide on the people in the chair.
And the skill.
And if we don't teach the people, how do we ever expect it to change? That's where we are the direct feed to the people. And if we don't help them with it, it's never going to change. And that's why I think the way I do. And that's why now I think, well, okay, if there's not more of a widespread of knowledge of this and a perspective shift, I just don't think that's how I can be of most value to people. Why? Because I want to help in the world and I want to be a difference in the world. And again, you can ask, why do you want to do that, Lee? Well, I think, what's the point of life else? Am I here just to take everything I can get? Or am I here to leave things a little better than I found them? And that's just how I think I see us with the Academy. And that's probably one of the big reasons behind why we do a lot of what we do, is we have these realization moments. Are these still the answers to the problems that we have ahead of us? Most of the time, the answer is no. Can we leave this in a better place than we found it, or we are experiencing it right now? Most of the time, the answer is yes. And if we feel that deep in our hearts and we see that and we're aware of that, I feel obligated to do it. Mm-hmm. And that's where it comes from. That's all where it comes from. It comes from a place of caring. And like I've talked about in other podcasts, I've done different journeys and gone deep on my personality and things like that. And it's the helper in me. I just want to help. I just want to help for better. And that's it. And so people can think, you're just having a dig on the industry. Oh, why do you do it then? This, that, and the other. Okay, that's fine. But you could carry on doing that and we can watch, the detrimental effects going down. It's okay if we're openly honest about it. And we go, look, I just want to get my hair done because, Lee, I love what you do. Enjoy my hair. See it as a material and a textile. And just go for it. Do something you want. And I will represent your work and your art because that's just what I want to do in the world today. And spread some positivity. And again, that gets back to why art is valuable. We need art in the world because it's a way for people to portray their inside thoughts.
It's a bit of an escapism.
They get the inside on the outside. That's what I see art as, and it's a way of portraying that. But is that what our industry is built on? I don't think so.
No.
When you see a photo shoot or a collection or an avant-garde, that's why I love avant-garde work so much. I move towards avant-garde work because it's just more artistic for me. The glamour stuff, I'm like, okay, that's fine. But there's a lot of ego involved in glamour, and there's a lot of like aesthetic ideals that you have to go by to make that person look as the best that they could. But on what compass? Who's judging that? Again, that's all subjective. So that's just my take on it. That's where I come from it. I think there's a lot of work to be done in this industry, but it's down to us as stylists to raise the vibration, raise what we see and do, and we are the direct feed to our clients. Because I think we forget as well, we can keep talking about this in our industry, but we're only 50% of our industry. The professionals are only 50%. The other 50% are the clients. They might even be a bigger percentage because there's more clients out there than there are hairdressers.
Absolutely.
So if they don't know this knowledge and we don't develop this perspective shift to them, how do we ever think anything's going to get any better?
It's just going around and around.
It's going to go. It's a reciprocal circle.
It's just going around
and around and around.
And you know what? Like I think it'd be really powerful to kind of just wrap this up on this topic.
Yep.
And I think it's just going to take a hell of a lot of self-awareness.
Yep.
And I think that is the gift that we have now, is to start to understand ourselves more, understand the direction in which we're going, and go through, it is hard. It's really tough. I went through a couple of weeks, really hard few weeks recently, coming to these realizations about myself and the direction that we're going. And ultimately, don't get us wrong, we still love what we do. Yeah. We still love what we do, but it's just about shaping it into a way that's better for everybody.
Yeah.
Not just necessarily better for us, but better for
everybody. And that's what we want to see. And look, like Owen just said, this work's not easy. That's why a lot of people find this hard to think about, because it's painful.
Yeah.
It could be, you can have real realizations with yourself, and it's painful. It's not easy to face that part of yourself, but you got a choice. You can accept it and be honest with it, or you can work on changing it, and that's what brings the awareness. I think it's very important to go there with it, but it's the important work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where I think our industry is that's where it's a little bit contradictory. It allows us to dance around the topic a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, oh, why do I feel bad? Okay, make yourself look different. Oh, I feel better now. What that exists because it's painful to do the opposite. Yeah. It's painful to sit there because society's told you, oh, you look ugly, or, you know, this part of your face is weird or whatever. You know, it's really hard to sit with that and do the painful work and just realize, you know, you're fine the way you are. And that, to me, sets the premise of everything that I do on top of that. Everything I do on top is an extra. That's why I see hair as such a privilege. It's not essential. Does it make me who I am? Absolutely not. Does it make you who you are? Absolutely not. I think no different of you, whether your hair is pink, blue, green, the perfect fade, the perfect lineup. I couldn't care less. It makes no difference to me, because I know that the value in the person is who they are right now and who they are naturally.
It's beyond skin deep.
It's beyond skin deep. And if we keep looking at that, and this is one of the issues of the world, if that's all you're putting out there, that's all you're ever going to attract, unfortunately. If all you're going about the world is with your looks, you're only going to attract people that go for looks. That's it. I don't think things will be optimal.
Mm-hmm. So that's it, guys. I guess to round it out, and it's something that we say in our mission statement. Now, after listening to today's episode, it might make a lot more sense, a little bit more sense, maybe a lot more sense, because that was quite deep. But be the change that you want to see, essentially, and shine your beacon into the world in a positive way. Don't jump on the bandwagon of negativity, because there's a lot of it right now. And if you are jumping on the bandwagon of negativity, you gotta just ask yourself, are you really sad about that when you sit at home in your room by yourself with no external? Does that really make you sad, or are you just virtue signaling? So that one was quite a deep one, Lee. But yeah, let's round it out and say, we look forward to episode 5.
Yeah.
We look forward to
it. I can't wait to elaborate more. And look, we still love what we do. We love this industry. I think we're quite unique in the way that we have a vision for what we can see coming. This industry can be beautiful if we just nudge things in a slightly different direction. But it's down to us as the professionals to be the direct link and drive it that way. Nothing's going to change if we keep letting it go the way it is.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, guys, so thank you for tuning in. Quick thanks to the sponsors, Jack Reed, Tapped, and CBD Culture. See you on episode 5.